Good morning, Steve Peck here, your second vice chair of the Colorado GOP. I had an opportunity to give a report from my spot among the officers, and just wanted to provide a video recap of that same report here at home, just in case you missed that, or if you want to share this with others. Some of the information I'm going to share has some hard truths in it, and there's data that I'm not entirely comfortable with. My intent here is not to shape or manipulate the data, just to provide where we're at, both as a party, what we achieved, and where the state of Colorado is headed. And some of this news is not good news, right? I'm not trying to sugarcoat this. There are lies, there are damn lies, and there are statistics. And if I am, if you feel like I'm trying to shape or present the statistics in a specific light, call me out. I'm not trying to do that. If I have any of these numbers wrong, please let me know and put it in the comment section. And I'm kind of curious to know what you think about all of these numbers anyway. So please jump in the comment section, share this with your friends, and let's get a conversation going around the future. So I'm going through a laptop, but I'm talking to my phone, and I'm going to try to see if I can make this work here. So I want to specifically say thank you to the Get Out the Vote committee. The GOTV committee is comprised of Holly Horn, Andy Jones, and I. Initially, the three of us were doing some of the planning, but then we added CJ Garbo, who's the district captain down in the Castle Rock area, as our data specialist. We hired him as a party, and then Laura Eichert was invaluable here in Highlands Ranch. So the five of us were ultimately accountable for the result, and we got out the vote here. Make no mistake about it. We got it out in a big way, as you'll see in the numbers. I also want to say thank you to our area coordinators. These people put in a ton of time and energy organizing, motivating, and door knocking. Mike Dixon down in Castle Rock, Luke Johnson in Highlands Ranch, Jan Cook out in Roxborough, Scott Jacobson in Lone Tree, Mark Knudsen and Alita Yu out in Parker. Thank you for your help in corralling all the other volunteers, and there's really too many to list. There's probably over 150 people that were ultimately a part of this effort. Okay, so in this slide here, you see total voters contacted. We had a goal of hitting 30,000 doors, and you can see in late September, Campaign Sidekick, we had 5,100 doors through Campaign Sidekick, 800 doors through Voter Spectrum, a total of 6,000 doors at the end of September. But by the end of October, we were up to 22,528 doors, and our final tally, both combination of Campaign Sidekick and Voter Spectrum, we hit 29,454 doors. And that is the most conservative estimate that I can provide. That's a combination of Voter Spectrum and Campaign Sidekick. If somebody didn't put their effort or their work into one of those software programs, then we don't know that existed. So we are very confident that there's at least another 2,500 to 3,500 doors that were contacted, and that doesn't include ballot chasing with Post-it notes, or people that didn't use the bags. They just put a flyer in a door jamb or on a car window or something like that. We're not counting that. So what you have here is a total 29,454 known contacted doors, which is great. 41,682 doors were hit statewide. That's not great. That's terrible. So the big number here, 70%, 71% of the total doors knocked in all of Colorado for the Colorado statewide effort came out of our county, which is a tremendous testimony about your efforts, precinct people, district captains, assistant area coordinators, interested volunteers, and you guys killed it. We did our part. The bad news is the rest of the state is on life support, not getting out the vote, and that's really discouraging. Let's look at Douglas County turnout in particular. So I've got 2018, and all these numbers come from Voter Spectrum. We have 85% turnout among Republicans, of registered Republicans in 2018. We have 88% of registered Democrats showing up in 2018, and among unaffiliated, 76% of unaffiliated show up in 18. Compare that with 2022. This cycle, we had just 79% of Republicans show up, which is a 6% decrease from 2018, our last midterm election. Well, 6% lower turnout is not good, but the silver lining here is that Democrats were down 10% and unaffiliateds were down 9%. And nationwide, you can go on Politico and look this up, 114 million people voted into 20,000, nationwide, 114 million people showed up to vote in the 2018 election, but it's something like 91 million showed up this time around. So nationwide, we're down 14% turnout. Why? There's lots of reasons for it, and you have probably your own thoughts around that. But the point I want to draw out here is Douglas County Republicans showed up. They turned out the vote. We were down 6%, and that's not a good number, but it is when you compare it to the nation, what happened nationwide. It is when it comes to comparing ourselves against our competition, which are the Democrats, and even among Republicans. Here's the not so good news. In raw absolute terms, in 2018, 79,000, we'll call it 80,000 Republicans showed up to vote, 38,000 Democrats, and 59,000 unaffiliated votes. Compare that with this year. We were down to 72,000 Republicans, right? And that's the 6% of Republicans that didn't show up. The Democrats are even. They're slightly up. They've got 300 more Democrats that showed up. And you could be saying, well, Steve, I thought you just told me that Democrat percentage of voters dropped by 10%. Yes, the percentage of Democrats who voted was down 10%, and yet the total number of Democrats increased by 300 something votes, meaning there's more Democrats here in the county. Shouldn't be totally surprising when we've got urban sprawl in the form of Sterling's Ranch and other communities. I mean, it's an open invitation for more of the same. And then unaffiliated voters are again, the percentage of people that are unaffiliated dropped by 9%, but in absolute terms, they went from 59,000 to basically 79,000, a surge in 20,000 votes. And then in 2020, we had 96% of Republicans and 96% of Democrats showing up, 92% of unaffiliated, which is among the highest in the nation. Douglas County is extremely healthy, well-educated, wealthy community, and we take our voting very seriously. So it's great to see that the presidential years are high. It's just too bad that we went from 96% of Republicans showing up in 2020 to just 79% this last time. Okay, so I've got a slide here. It's by the numbers, 125,000. That's the number of votes fewer that people voted for governor from 2018 down to 2022. 20,000. This number is kind of shocking. 20,000, that's the increase of Douglas County voters who voted for Polis. 79%, I just mentioned, that's the percentage of Douglas County Republicans who voted in 2022. 9.7 million. This is the fundraising advantage that Polis had over Heidi Ganahl. Think about that. 9.7 million, almost 10 million bucks. And the thing is, you could say, well, Heidi Ganahl needed more money. The truth of the matter is, Polis would then just put more of his own money back in. What we need, in my view, is somebody with extremely deep pockets who can self-fund and go toe-to-toe with a guy like Polis. 71%, that was Douglas County's share of the statewide get out the vote effort, and 0 is the number of Republicans who hold statewide office. That is a depressingly small number. And even if you look at our congressional delegation right now, we've got 3, if it looks like Lauren Boebert's going to hang on, 3 out of 8. We can do better than that. Okay, let's look at the 2018 versus 2022 election, state election results. Jared Polis got 1.35 million votes in 2018. That was 53% of the vote. Stapleton got 1.1 million votes, which was 43% of the vote. Fast forward to today, Polis got 1.37 million, which, I don't think that 20,000 is coming from Douglas County, but it is a little bit strange. Yeah, he in absolute terms, he just inched up by 20,000 more votes at last count. I mean, I'm recording this on Saturday. I think it's the 12th. Those numbers could shift slightly, but right now he's got 58% of the vote, as again opposed to his 53% in 2018. And Heidi Ganal got 951,000 or 40%. I mean, she got beat by 18%, which is pretty terrible. But Heidi, I and Danny were tremendous candidates. I think they ran a great campaign, and I don't know what I would tell them to do differently. I mean, mom of 4 cancer survivors, small business owner. She had everything going for her, and people said, no, I want Jared Polis. I want lockdown Polis. Okay, all right, that's what they wanted. They think he's doing a great job. 2018 versus 2020 governor results when it comes to Douglas County. You got Stapleton at 99,000 votes. He won very convincingly here in Douglas County over Polis, who had just 71,000 votes, 40% of the vote. Okay, so what the heck happened here? Ganal drops 7,000 votes and Polis surges 20,000 votes. I mean, that's not good. Any way you slice and dice it, this is not good. Why? Please, I in the comments, please tell me what your thoughts are. I'm interested. I'd like to see some debate around this. Okay, and then this last slide here, I guess the second to last slide, is 2018 versus 2022 election results across the state. What candidates did perform well at the statewide level? Now, all these candidates ultimately lost, but I think it's important to do a postmortem and say, well, of these candidates that ran, who did the best? Well, Kellner got the most votes, again, as of this count. 1,025,000 votes. Pam Anderson, amazingly, 1,010,000 votes. And Joe O'Day, 997,000 votes, and Ganal 951,000 votes. So what I am saying, and I'm not saying that I want this to be true, I'm telling you what the facts are. A guy like O'Day is getting about 50,000 more votes. And I say a guy like O'Day, it's not that he's a bad guy, but he is not a movement conservative. He is not a Freedom Caucus kind of guy. Forget about beating Trump, right? I mean, he went out of his way to say that he would oppose Trump, which I think didn't help his cause among base voters, but he was kind of damned if he does, damned if he didn't. I don't know if that it matters. I don't know if it matters at all. He was saying he was pro-abortion after 20 weeks, which isn't a radical position, but it's not consistent with the base, let's be honest. And among the base, Trump is extremely popular. The problem is the base in Colorado is not representative of a majority of Colorado. So I think, in summary here, you as a party, you as a voter, you as an organizer and leader, what we have to admit is, or come to terms with is, it's one of two paths. The caucus process, in my view, is important because it allows us as members of the community, one, to get to meet each other and to connect in a way that I think is good, proper, and decent for self-government, okay? Otherwise, you're just mailing in ballots, and it's very transactional, and I think it erodes community. But I think we need to be very cautious about who we nominate. If we nominate somebody that is meeting every single one of our litmus test check marks, that's fantastic for us in the near term, but it does not play statewide. And so we're at a crossroads. We're at a decision point. If we lived in, if the whole state of Colorado was like the 4th congressional district, Ken Buck's congressional district would be fine. If we lived in Texas, we'd be fine. If we lived in Florida, we would be fine. If wishes were horses, beggars would ride. We don't live that reality. The question is it better to support a candidate who, meets every single one of our criteria and is like a ride or die candidate that doesn't have a shot at winning? Or do we go with a candidate that can win, that sells us out? I mean, it's a really bleak situation. And if I'm just trying to tell the truth as I see it. If you want a Freedom Caucus type of statewide office holder, then you're not going to find it in Colorado, not with the demographics that we currently have. You need to seriously consider moving to Cheyenne. I know somebody's out there going to say, well, God works in mysterious ways, and that's true. And maybe there's a miracle out there. I'm not going to question that couldn't happen. I'm just telling you that it seems exceedingly unlikely. Here's how I see this. This is changing demographics, right? We've got Sterling's Ranch and places, neighborhoods like Sterling's Ranch, where people are coming into our community that do not share our values. Think about your own social circle. Who's moving in and who's moving out? Haven't you noticed the number of California license plates? So are these blue refugees or are these blue locusts? Are these blue refugees or are these blue locusts? I don't know. I think time will tell. But what I can tell you, the data shows, at least on this one election cycle, is there are more Democrats here in our county, and they're not voting in a way that's consistent with the way that's made Douglas County a great place to be. Can that trend line change? Sure, but we've got to get serious about the type of candidates we support, our messaging, our fundraising, our tactics and strategies. Number two, Trump was on the ballot even though he wasn't on the ballot. That's just a reality. I mean, I can tell you that through 8 weeks of walking. I can tell you that through campaign managers that I talked to. I'd go to a person's doorstep and they'd want to talk about Trump. They'd want to talk about January 6th. They want to talk about insurrection. And some of them would say, I typically vote Republican. I'm independent, but I'll vote Republican. But I'm not going to vote for him. And that hurts me because I feel like Trump did just a tremendous job of sealing the border, making us energy independent. He made good on his promises to nominate originalists to the Supreme Court that ultimately I hope will restore some balance to our federal government and claw back some of the administrative state over time. He made good on tax cuts. He didn't get us started with new wars. In fact, he kept us at bay. He challenged the status quo when it came to the Chamber of Commerce and get along Republicans, establishment Republicans who just care about the status quo. So when it came to trade, he challenged all of us, myself included, where he said, no, we're getting ripped off by these international deals and got us to rethink some of these things. But people don't care. They want to talk about mean tweets. They want to talk about his childish behavior. So again, we can talk about things the way we wish they were, or we can face them as they actually are. And the choice is ultimately ours. And then I think lastly, you could talk about fundraising. That is certainly a factor. I think we had great candidates at the, I'm thinking specifically of Heidi and Danny. I think they were great candidates. I think she mopped the floor with him when it comes to the debate. But if nobody sees the debate and you're getting swamped by negative advertising, it's a tough thing to overcome. We need somebody that can go toe-to-toe with the kind of money that Polis has. Bottom line, that's my point of view. But there was also the divide between what's happening at the state assembly and what's happening at the primary, and that probably deserves its own video. But that's the report, and just wanted to share that with you. Please, again, I'm looking for engagement in the comments, and share this with your friends. And, who knows, maybe I'll do more videos like this one. Thank you.